Hello fellow makeup lovers, how are you guys doing today? So I am so excited for this video because I'm going to be doing a first impression on the new Tasty Avocado palette from Makeup Revolution. It is a really beautiful, affordable green palette, so I was excited about it when I saw that it was launching. I thought it looked really beautiful, but I wanted to wait for it to go on Ulta because I wanted to use my Ulta points and get it for free basically, because I didn't want it to count as part of my low buy, because this is something I felt like I would get more for review purposes rather than just, I mean, I think it's beautiful. Like, I think it's really beautiful, but I would be less likely to spend my money on it because I know Makeup Revolution can be kind of hit and miss, but I wanted to include it on my channel, so I used my Ulta points basically. I also grabbed the new well, this isn't as new, but I've been waiting for it to go on Ulta, the new Deep Dive palette, which is more of like a blue-green color scheme, which I want to use very soon. And I was thinking, sorry to be doing a tangent already, but I'm going to be doing my green shadow battle, my green palette battle very, very soon. And I think I'm going to leave these out because I want more time to test them. So I thought maybe like in a month or so I could do like a drugstore version of all the green palettes, because I can think of like 5 off the top of my head. So definitely let me know if that's something you'd like to see, like a little separate like mini video on of just drugstore green palettes, because I can definitely do that. And all cruelty free, of course, because I'm cruelty free and this is cruelty free. So let's just go ahead and jump on into the palette. I'm so excited. You know I'm excited when I start humming. Alright, so this retails for $15 and it has an avocado on the front. I did not realize this, but the avocado is like soft, like it feels kind of like foam. Like it reminds me of like a kid's toy or something. So it's interesting, definitely. I'm not sure, I wouldn't say like I hate it, but I wouldn't say I love it either. I don't know if you can tell how it's foam. From looking online, I thought it was just going to be like flat plastic, so I was a little bit surprised when I first opened it up to take Instagram pictures. And then here is what it looks like. So I think it's really beautiful. There's a few pops of blue, lots and lots of green. There's some grungy tones. There's some brighter greens. There's some pops of neutrals as well. I wish, I was looking in this and I wish instead of a black that they had done like a really deep, rich, grungy brown. Especially with like all of these names, a lot of them, some of them just have to do with food in general, but a lot of them have to do with avocado. So I think it would have been really cute if they had done some type of like super grungy dark brown shade and called it like gone bad or expired or something, because I feel like we've all been there with our avocados. If you don't get it at that perfect time, and then it's just this very unappealing color on food, but for eyeshadow I would love it. So that's one thing I wish was in here, but overall I'm so excited. So we're gonna go ahead and start off by swatching. And the shimmers also look like they look very sparkly. I don't know if I've ever tried a Makeup Revolution palette that was like this size. I've tried a few different ones of the like the $7 ones, and then I tried the Emily Noel collaboration, but nothing other than that. So I feel like I look a little crazy right now because this eye has absolutely no makeup on it, because this morning my allergies were really bugging me just on this eye and I kept washing it out over and over. And then this eye has like a full lining, so it's like, it's not symmetric. But anyways, starting off we have Smash, which looks really beautiful. Ooh, it's like a really light icy blue. Ooh, Toast is creamy. I'm so excited. I really, really hope that it performs. Ooh, look at Avo. It's a little bit harder to swatch these because of the way that the pans are, but they feel good so far from what I can tell. Which for the price, even if you kind of have to work with them, blend them in a little extra, like I think that would be worth it for a palette that's only $15. And even less. Like I used an Ulta coupon code as well to get like the extra $3 off or something. I know I already started swatching, but I just wanted to show you how beautiful it looks like up close. Next we have California. Ooh, what a surprise. That one looks kind of like a gold, but it has a lot of green in there. That looks really nice. Smoothie. That one's a little bit thicker, and then half. Next we have Haas. which is the deepest shade, and it looks pretty pigmented. I'm just doing tiny little swipes. I'll even show you exactly what I'm doing. Here's Guacamole. That's all that I do. I'm not trying to make it look extra pigmented or anything. And then we have Brunch, which looks a little bit similar to Smash, but maybe just a touch darker. Oops. Bad swatches. Oh yeah, definitely a little bit darker. Those kind of remind me of the lighter shades in the Melt Smoke Sessions palette. So we have Green Gold, Mousse, which is a little bit random. It's like a super dark brown. And then Stone, which is, oh, that's actually kind of pretty. It's like, it almost appears like a gray in the palette, but it has, I hope you can see that, it has a pretty green undertone to it. All right, next we have Creamy, which looks like, you know, your typical matte light skin tone shade. Definitely could do without that, but maybe it'll make some of these shades easier to blend. We'll see. And then Bite, which, oh, this looks beautiful. It's kind of similar to the other two blues. This one's a little bit chunky, but it looks like so sparkly. And then we've got Pear, which is a really pretty soft green. I'm pretty excited so far. Look at that one. That's beautiful. All right, last but not least, we've got Foodie, which is kind of like a bluey green kind of shade. Like a blue with a tiny bit of a green shift. Seed, which is like a warm brown. But actually it actually kind of looks like a mustardy brown. And then Lime, which is a lime shade. It's more like a chartreuse green. I really hope these perform well because so far the swatches have me pretty impressed. Like, they're not like overly crazy pigmented, but they definitely look like they'll be buildable. Some of the shimmers are more intense, some of them are more like soft satins, but definitely not feeling any duds at this point, so feeling good. So there are the swatches up close. Alright, so now I'm going to go ahead and do an eye look, and then at the end I'm going to try and compare this, at least just showing them side by side to a few other very green palettes that I own in case you're curious to see just at least what the colors look like next to each other. Or actually, I'm going to switch it up because I always do this eye like on camera, like this is the one I always talk through. But like I said, I had a reaction earlier and it's super dry and crusty, so we're going to judge this eye a lot more than this one. And the primer that I'm using today is the Ofra Eye Gel Primer, which I received through Octoly, and I've been enjoying. I mean, it's just a regular eye primer, so I've been using it. I think I'm going to go ahead and start off with this shade right here called Half. Getting just a little bit of kick up in the pan, and I'm going to put that right into my crease. Looks pretty pigmented. Just gonna kind of buff it out. So far so good. Now I'm gonna go ahead and grab the shade right here called Avo. Again, just getting a little bit of kickback when I dip my brush in. I'm gonna go ahead and put that into my crease just to deepen it up a little bit. I don't want to take it too far, so I'm going to kind of just leave it at that, and then I'll go in with my previous brush and blend it out. Which the colors are blending together pretty well. Alright, now I'm going to dip into Hass. Just grabbing a tiny little bit and putting that onto my outer V. Gonna try to blend it really well and maybe go back in with the green shade over it just so that it appears more of a dark green rather than a black, while also deepening at the same time. Actually, I think that looks pretty good the way that it is right there. It's blending out really well, it's adding depth, it's not leaving my eye. For the lower lash line, I really want to test some of the brighter greens, so I'm going to start off with this shade right here called Lime. I got just the tiniest little bit of fallout, nothing crazy, and blend that along the lower lash line. Definitely appears to be buildable. I mean, I don't know if this would be opaque enough to put like all over your lid as like a super bright shade. You could definitely try it. Like, it reminds me of the shade Friends in the Paulina palette, but I like the shade Friends more. It's a little bit brighter and crazier, but this could definitely be really good if you want to do just like a soft, like use it as a transition shade in your crease. I think it'd be really good for that. It shows up enough. I'm going to grab a little touch of Guacamole. Could go for some guacamole right now. And I'm going to add that to the outer half right here. I'm also going to grab a little touch of Pear, this really beautiful light green here. And I'm going to pop that onto the little front part right here on the lower lash line. Just for a little bit of shimmer. Now I'm going to go ahead and take the shade Bite. I just can't help myself because it looks so beautiful. So I'm going to go ahead and apply that to the lid. Okay, I don't think this brush picks that kind of formula up very well, apparently. Alright, let's try something else. There we go. If you rub back and forth a little bit with something a little bit more flat, but still pretty soft. I picked it up better, but it kind of just looks sparkly. It's looking a little bit chunky. Maybe I should have used something else first and then use this as like a topper. It's too late now. I'm just going to kind of fill in my entire lid with that shade. Do the best that I can. Like, I need to find a way to make this shimmer work for me. That shimmer, it's not looking too good. It just doesn't look very nice on the eye. I'm going to spray my brush and see if that helps. Yeah, I think that helps a little bit, not to just disperse so weirdly. Still looks a tiny bit chunky, but we'll figure it out. Definitely tons of fallout from that shade. I'm actually going to grab a touch of Foodie right here. I really just want to give a different shimmer a go, so I'm going to use that on the outer part of my lid. Ooh, that looks good. This brush is still just a touch wet since I'm using the same brush, but what a difference. It's really pretty. I'm grabbing a touch more of Hass, and I'm just going to kind of blend that part of the eye right here. I'm going to take a little touch of Brunch right here, and I'm going to pop that onto the inner part of the lid here just to get it a little more precise and smooth. So yeah, I think maybe in the future I would use Bite, maybe like on the finger or something, and use it just as like a little topper. I picked up just a tiny little bit, and then maybe just adding that over the top of something else, rather than expecting it to be good on its own. Last but not least, I'm going to go ahead and grab this shade right here called Smash. I'm going to pop that onto my inner corner. It kind of looks like it has a similar formula where it's kind of glittery and a little bit just looser. So maybe, again, that would be a good shade to go in and wet your brush with. Let me try it. I mean, it looks a little bit more intense on this side, but it's still a little bit messy. Actually, it looks a lot more intense. I'm grabbing a touch more of that light green shade Pear. Just throwing it on the lower lash line, kind of blending between right here. I'm going to go ahead and finish up this look with the Linda Howberry Cool Mood eye pencil and some mascara, and I'll be right back. Alright, so I had to go in with a little extra powder to clean up underneath my eyes because the fallout was real. But this eye look actually looks really pretty. Like, up close, like, yeah, there's, like, some spots, like, with the shimmers that are a little bit messy. But overall, I think it's a very stunning look. And I'm happy with the mattes. But we'll get into my thoughts in just a little bit. So, to finish up my face, I was looking for other Makeup Revolution products in my collection. And I found this. Actually, I have, like, a bunch of highlighters to the side of me in this, like, little box. And I'm like, I would need to use every single one of these and decide whether I'm decluttering them or not. Because I don't want to keep things that I don't love. So this is the Makeup Revolution Holographic Lights highlighter, and it's been in that box for a while. It's like a white, like, to green shifting highlighter. The reason why it's in the box is because it's pretty powdery. So I figured, you know what, it's a green shift. We'll try it today. We'll see if I want to declutter it or not. Ooh. It's a strong shift. All right, let's see how it blends out. Okay, it has like a little bit of a pink base. That's the kind I like. It emphasizes texture just a little bit, but I don't hate it. Alright, so I only own one lipstick from Makeup Revolution, and it's the lipstick in the shade Chaffeur, which this one's annoying because it's spelled Chauffeur, and I'm one of those people who, like, I rely on autocorrect a lot to remember how to spell things, and if I had to guess, I'd say chauffeur is probably French, so it doesn't ever show up, and I have to, like, sit there and, like, think for, like, 10 minutes, like, how do I spell chauffeur? And I always end up having a moment. But it's a really pretty lipstick. You'd think that they'd have that in the English autocorrect because it's a common word. Most people who speak English know what a chauffeur is. Isn't that pretty? I really like it. And then to add a little gloss, I'm going to go into Sea Glass from Amy Hearts Beauty. Alright guys, so this is the finished look using the Tasty Avocado palette, and I have to say that so far I am overall impressed. Obviously there's some pros and cons, but I think that the matte shades all showed up really well, had pigmentation, blended easily, like no problem at all with the mattes. They feel a little bit thinner, as in, like, compared to, like, for example, I love the Makeup Revolution Whale Song palette. Those have a little bit of, like, a richness and, like, a creaminess to them that is transparent on the eye, at least in person. I feel like you can tell the difference. Even if the color is the same, it just has a thickness to it that blends so beautifully, and it just looks so opaque. So these I find to be a little bit more thin, but they're also, you know, more affordable, but they still blended beautifully. And I think that if you're someone looking for some green mattes, like, I think that they did a really good job with the mattes from what I've tried so far. This is just a first impression. And then for the shimmers, I feel like it's going to take a little bit for me to just get used to them. I feel like the shimmers that don't look as, like, special, like the more compact ones, which is what most of them are, they performed well, but the one Smash and Bite that I wanted to use, I feel like those kind of are a little bit more thick and chunky. So I'm going to try on with a glitter glue. I'm going to try just doing an overall wet with them. I'm going to try putting them over a base. I'll try a few different things to see how I end up liking them best. But I think that, you know, if you were into this palette color scheme and you were like, I don't know, is it going to be crap? Like, is there any hope? I would probably, at this point, from a first impression, I would give it probably a B+, just because I love the color scheme so much. The mattes were so good. The shimmers, you can kind of finesse them, and it's so affordable. So that's my thoughts so far. Before I close out this video, like I said, I wanted to show you a few other green palettes and just kind of, just at least show them together. I'm not going to do a bunch of swatches right now because that would be really, really time consuming, but I'll show you. So here is the Tasty Avocado palette next to the Juvia's Place Tribe. There are definitely some similar tones in here, like some bright greens. They're like mustardy brown, even though they're not the exact same tone. I feel like there's a lot more greens in here, and there's some more, like, warm shades here as far as, like, percentages go, but some similar-ish tones. So there's the ColourPop Just My Luck palette. I feel like there are some similar tones, especially with the mattes. Like these ones kind of give me the same kind of vibes that you get from this. And then with the shimmers, these are all kind of more grungy. Like maybe this one, Big Games and Smoothie, kind of looks similar. And then I've got Gimme Glow Cosmetics Juicy Olive palette, which I find this to be a lot more grungy tones. This does have a little tiny bit of grunge, but overall I wouldn't say there's a bunch of like super similar tones. Vodka Teeny and Half kind of look similar, and then like Green Gold, maybe just a tiny bit similar to Garnish, but not quite the same level of intensity. I was pulling out my Certify Affinity 2 palette, which I'll still show you, but honestly I don't think these look anything similar at all. Like so far off from each other. Anything close? I don't think so. I don't think there's a single repeating shade there. And then last but not least, my very loved Menagerie Whale Song palette, which, I mean, this shade right here, What Are You, Fluke, and Smoothie look similar. Kelp and Half a little bit, not quite. I'm trying to think if I have any more like true green palettes to compare this to, but that's kind of where I'm at. I don't know. I try to like look at each palette and kind of just read the color scheme and just translate it the best that I can. So I guess the way that I would describe this as maybe like a brighter grunge with a few warm pops. I feel like what stands out here is that there's a lot of shimmer options and a lot of different like tones of blues and greens that you could go in with for the lid. So there's definitely a lot of shades going on here, which can be fun, especially when you're trying to experiment with a certain color family. So that's pretty much everything for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed it and found it helpful. Before I let you go, I would love to know if you would like to see me do like a 3 looks and review at this. I definitely can. I think it's really beautiful and I'd love to spend some time getting to know it. So if you guys are interested in that, then please let me know down below in the comments. And that's everything. So I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!